Well, Mayor Bob, welcome back to Mayor's Monday here at WSAU.
It seems like I was just here.
Yes, you were.
Isn't it Lisa's turn from Point?
Yeah, it is.
That guy owes me money.
He owes a lot of people money.
Oh,
from
okay.
what I understand.
He does have a good product down there with Point Beer. We won't get into all that. But I hear Mike's out of town, so you got me this week.
Yes, Mike is indeed out of town, so we will get the vacation slideshow next week. We'll see.
I hope he went someplace good.
So. Yeah, hopefully he's someplace warm, of course, as everybody likes to say this time of year.
I was in Mosinee last weekend, so I got some things going for me. So
yeah, it's further south at least.
A little bit.
A little bit.
And actually the weather, it's been a little cloudy, but it is January. The temperatures are at least nice, and opposed to the week before where it snowed every day. And I've told you this before, when it snows, people do call and yell at me when it's snowing. Never once on a beautiful summer day. Nice job with the weather, Bob, but that's okay. People are always welcome to call and talk to me about anything. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually one thing that the city crews did have a little bit of a hiccup with a couple of weeks ago, was the fact that we did get that consistent snow.
It just wouldn't stop.
Yeah, it wasn't enough to declare a snow emergency at any point, but it was just
continuous
enough to the point where it did require some continuous attention.
Yeah, and we had folks working both day and night. A lot of these guys were on for like 16, 17 hours, and they took some time off, and then they would come back at 2 or 3 in the morning to make sure that the roads and everything were taken care of before the morning rush hour. This last week and going into this week now, they're getting rid of a lot of the snowbanks. They already have on the main thoroughfares like Stewart and Grand. First Avenue, I know they are probably going to be doing 3rd Avenue too coming up here if they haven't done it already. I give our guys a lot of credit. They are unsung heroes, and it was tough because it's Mother Nature, and I think most people know and appreciate that. There's some that, whatever reason, but our guys need to get rest too. And I've said this before, I'll say it again. We've got the best staff in the world all the way around here. Very dedicated, very professional, very hardworking. And we're very lucky with what we have here in Wausau. They do a great job, all of our employees. But Department of Public Works this time of year are unsung heroes.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you talk about widening or getting rid of the banks, it's really what you mean there is you mean widening the streets,
right.
Correct? Because sometimes you do see the snow's encroaching into the bike lane, or it might be kind of narrowing things down. I know Scott Street, of course, the one I have to drive by on a daily basis, is notorious for that. But crews, if they haven't already, they will be getting out here in the next couple of days.
They have already been doing it, and they're starting the side streets too. And yes, folks, I know there's a fair amount of snow out there. Last year was the record ever here in Wausau. This year is already starting off that way as well. I know snow is good for tourism and recreation and everything, but it can also be expensive as far as removal, that type of thing. I also know it can be inconvenient. And I ask for a little bit of patience from residents. These folks are getting to it. The other thing that's been kind of tough here lately, the Mayor's Pothole hotline is going to be starting up here again, because we get that rain, we get that moisture where it gets warm, and then the water gets underneath that tar and fill and everything like that. Then it gets cold, and then it gets brittle, and it loosens up. So the season is coming. We've already being prepared for it, and we will move forward. Again, I can't say enough good things about our Department of Public Works.
Nice. So you bring up a really good topic there with the Mayor's pothole hotline, because that is something that you started in the last couple of years. First off,
a little too successful last year. So.
that it was, absolutely.
It's not so bad yet, but it's still coming into February.
First off, I have to give you a lot of credit, because I think that's about the easiest or the best way I've ever heard somebody who's not a scientist describe how a pothole is made.
I'm smarter than I look sometimes.
So that's, I'm sure, something that, of course, when you get into the mayor's seat, you don't think you're going to have to learn that stuff or have to worry about that stuff, but it comes with the
part of the job. There's a bunch of things, and this is a learning process every day, but I've said this before, I love what I do. I do educate myself and learn different things, and, no two things are ever alike, so... It's part of the position, which I love.
And absolutely, I guess for me too, it's my position as part of news director is to clear off the satellite dishes when it snows and things like that.
Okay.
So they didn't tell me about that when I signed on the dotted line. And
do you have to go up on the roof, or is that on the ground?
Not on the roof, but on the ground. But had they told me about that before I signed, things may have been reconsidered. But that's neither here nor there. But just again, back to the pothole hotline. Just tell us. how do folks get a hold of you on that if they're starting to see a problem area? How do you want
Just
to?
call 715 pothole. Simple as that. And Department of Public Works, we will get somebody out there as soon as possible, usually within a day at the very latest, if not the same day, depending on what time we get the complaint. Because obviously we don't want folks wrecking their cars or anything like that. But again, it's winter time. We are a tough, hardy bunch, but I also don't want to have any problems for residents with their vehicles or anybody getting hurt or anything like that, because I know that stuff can add up too. So hence the reason why you see a pothole, give us a call. We'll get it taken care of.
Absolutely. So that's the less fun part about the job, as we mentioned earlier. But we do.
There's actually worse things than that. So.
I'm sure there are as well. But we move on now to, I guess, something that's kind of exciting here at City Hall. Always exciting when you get a new employee, somebody new hired. We've talked about it for a while. City clerk resigned back around Thanksgiving or so, and you've actually already filled the position maybe a little quicker than you thought you would.
Well, and we had a background search, a very extensive search. Tony Riella did a super job for us, and I understand between the hours and the commitment involved, and she found something that a little bit more lifestyle suited her, which is understandable. And she's going to be tough to replace. That said, we have hired a new city clerk. We introduced her last night at the city council, last week at the city council meeting, and her name is Leslie Kramer. She comes from the Marshfield area. She's got a lot of experience in both government and legal, and she's starting February 24th. She's going to hit the ground running, especially with elections and everything coming up. That's why I think she's going to do a great job, and brings a lot of knowledge to the position. So it's going to take a little time for her to get assimilated and everything like that, but she'll become part of the family, and we'll move forward and just get things done.
Yeah, and you mentioned her start date. It's going to be about 4 days or so before the spring primary. So you're right there in that week window. But obviously,
actually, it's after the spring primary.
After the spring primary, excuse me. But you do have a deputy clerk that's been doing the job in the interim.
She's been doing a great job, Mary Katie.
So she's not going to be all alone.
Heavens no! I would never do that to anybody. And technically, the city clerk's department is part of the finance department. And Mary Ann Grote is in charge of that department, and everybody's going to make sure that Leslie will be fine. She's going to get the training and everything that she's going to need, and she'll be okay. I think she's going to be an incredible addition to the city staff.
So just exactly what is it about her background that makes her a good fit for the position?
A lot of it, she knows a lot of legal things, which is always good to know in a city clerk's position, and the hows and the wheres and how to get things done. And she can always ask for help for something that she doesn't know. Again, I say this very honestly. All of our staff, I look at the ladies down in the city clerk's office, and it goes back to what we've had here for the last couple of years to make it more customer focused, resident focused, employee focused too, for that matter. And just basic respect and decency, and just to be nice to one another. And, we hear an occasional complaint, that type of thing, but overall, people have noticed a difference here at City Hall with the culture and the morale, and I cannot say enough good things about our city staff. I am very honored and blessed to be working with them.
And again, sometimes, for a lot of people who might not ever, get the opportunity or might not ever have a reason to be up here in the mayor's office or
everybody's
in these
welcome.
Departments, that city clerk sometimes that's kind of the face that they put to the city too.
Correct.
If they're dealing with payments or other clerical things, I guess you could say. So that's always important to have that in a position as well too.
Definitely.
Oh, is there anything else that you'd like to add here then before we let you go today? I know
it's a big, like I said, beginning part of February, and it's quiet, which is good. There's always some things happening as far as we'll be making some news as far as some more economic development coming up here. But things actually are pretty well here in the city of Wausau. I know we're meeting a little bit earlier than usual by about a week or so, but just the same, since we last talked, we've had a lot of good positive news. And sorry about that. It never stops, folks. But there's a lot of good positive things happening here in the city of Wausau. 2020 is starting out to be an excellent year for economic development. Again, to mention, 2019 was our second best year ever. 2017 was our best year ever. And 2018 was a good year too. We got a lot of infrastructure done last year, and we're continuing in that this year. Quality of life amenities. It's things that needed to be done for a long time, and they are being addressed, and people can notice a difference. And there's a positive vibe going, so that's what I'd like to keep pushing.
And you're not going to tell us that the phone call you got there was just somebody from Red Lobster saying that they're going to officially come to Wausau,
I could almost
are you?
guarantee it was not from Red Lobster, because I know there's a couple of them that we're trying to get, and
So
we'll
you're
see what happens.
Not going to drop any bombshells just yet, but we'll
No,
stay
that'd be
tuned.
irresponsible on
Right.
my part, and I don't want to do that. And the good news is there are businesses and residents coming to the area. We have started the census. I invite people. Here's one thing for you.
Sure.
We do have positions open as far as for both census takers. They can feel free to contact my personal assistant, Kathy Groeschel, who's in charge of the census taking for the city of Wausau. Her phone number is 261-6801. And we're also looking for election workers, and those are the ones that help out at the polls, that type of thing, during the special elections. This year we have 5. It's actually pretty easy money, so to speak. You could get a hold of Mary Ann Grote at 261-6645.
Mm-hmm. We'll certainly look forward to more on that as those dates get closer too in February and then again in April when the census does indeed roll around.
Correct.
Always appreciate the time, Mayor Bob. We'll look forward to chatting again next month at your regularly scheduled time.
Sounds good. Thank you. Take care, Wausau.